All right, welcome to episode 12 of This Week Inside the New York Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Yo, this has been one of the greatest weeks I've seen in a long time in New York Knicks basketball, man. Let me get we got an action-packed show. Look, we beat the Heat, blew out Denver, and the Nets all into 1 week. Round of applause for the Knicks. Doing what we had to do, man. This has been, like I said, probably the best week of the season, though maybe not, depending on a potential injury. We'll get into that a little later. So, man, we got a action-packed show for you today. First off, I am the Objective fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes, man. And thank you for checking me out. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
Don't forget to like this video.
Let's get the sound effects.
Subscribe to my channel.
Don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you're on iTunes, Spotify, any of those other platforms, be sure to hit that 5-bar button or 5-star button or whatever button you got on the platform. That's the best way to stay in tune with this podcast and help other people find our podcast, our show. So if you don't know, this show is dedicated to documenting the Knicks 365. Give me 50 minutes. I'll give you the Knicks. Each week we have a new episode and we cover all of the things that happen in the episode. So those watching in the future can go back and have a nice place to reference their New York Knicks basketball. Man, let me tell you something. This is one of the craziest weeks. We're going to be talking about January 21st to the 27th. So anything that happened in those time frames, we definitely will cover all of the hot button topics. And then, be sure to check out www.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. I should have some notes up there very shortly. But look, this week was amazing, man. I mean, look, before I get to the week, I got some more announcements, man. So we did our first live play-by-play schedule. It was the Knicks versus Net game. Round of applause for our first live play-by-play. I'm going to get the schedule up on the screen. We didn't do the Heat game because I was very busy. I wanted to, but we definitely will be covering the Lakers game. That will be this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be square. I will be giving live play-by-play commentary, as you can see from Candace Parker, slights, and just the way that they, discredit the Knicks by not giving the Knicks, the valid credit that they deserve. Definitely watch the game with me. You watch on mute, I watch on mute, and we watch the game together. So be there this Saturday, February 3rd. We're going to be rocking out. Another quick announcement before we get started. Definitely tune in to Dagger Squad Sports. I will be hosting the show on there with Brother Garfield on the Brother Garfield podcast. We talk about all things trending. So definitely get on me there. We've been having some action-packed shows. This will be the third week in a row. So the show's been going good. This was Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, exclusively on the Brother Garfield podcast. So definitely catch me there as well. Also give a salute to House Call Sports. Definitely that brand is growing. We're getting ready to divide up our platforms into sports-specific channels. So there'll be a NBA channel. You'll be seeing me drop content on there as well. So, round of applause for that. Now let's jump into research mode, man. Enough with these announcements. Let's get into the show. So I won't not hold you any longer. We've been on a crazy nice winning tear, 6 games in a row since that Magic loss. And honestly, if you take away the L from the Magic and the Mavericks, we could be 10 in a row? No, the streak would actually be a lot longer because I just realized we won about 5 games before the Mavericks lost. So the Knicks are on a tear, man. We're definitely one of the top teams in the league. And, we're getting some respect, but we're also getting some slight. I will be doing another video talking about how the media views the Knicks and that one thing holding the Knicks back that the media will always highlight. So I will be dropping that, but get my head out the way. So as you can see, when you look at the standings, right now we're battling in 4th place with the Cavs. We've been going back and forth because the Cavs have also been playing pretty good basketball as well. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. And they did lose a game before their previous one, but they're still one of the hottest teams in the league. So right now, it's us in Cleveland right now as like the 2 hottest teams in the league, if you ask me. And, of course, we have the biggest win streak with 6 games in a row. And we also have the best record of the year thus far in 2024. So round of applause for these Knicks. Now, Indiana's, is, you know, we're watching them to see what they do. They just made a trade for Pascal Siakam, but right now Knicks sitting in the fourth place and they're battling with the Cavs. I do think we can overtake the Cavs. And look at this differential. I think the last week's episode it was in the fours. Now we're at 5.6, and I think we have the seventh highest differential in the league, or the fifth highest. Yeah, behind the Clippers and OKC. Of course, this number changed slightly each day. And then, yeah, we're like top five in differential in the league. So, Knicks is doing their thing. And like I told you, that's the one of the most important standing stats besides wins is differential. And the Knicks have been beating teams handily and handling their business against the teams that are at 500. So right now, when you look at the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, who was actually snubbed. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later. That's one of our hot topics. Speaking of hot topics, let me just introduce those real quick. We talk about that Heat game. We talk about the Randle shoulder injury. Why there may be a glimmer of hope. We'll cover that. We'll talk about the Brunson All-Star snub. But look at his numbers, 26 and 6 is crazy. We talk about the Nuggets game rumors, power rankings, and more. So this man is like top 3 right now in the East in point guard scoring, or maybe even top 2. Because like I said, the numbers change every day because there's active games. But 26 and 6.5 assists. I mean, he's amazing, man. And then Julius Randle, of course, 24 and 9. And listen, these Knicks are looking the part. And it's just been amazing watching them. Even OG stepped up his scoring. He's now at 15.6 a game. So, and then of course, Dante stepped up his to 11.4. So just to give you some ideas of what the stats look like. All right, so let's get to this Miami game. First off, this Miami game was the most craziest game. Oh man, a lot of emotions riding. Honestly, it really had a playoff feel. It felt like your season was on the line. That was the level of intensity that these guys play with. That night, it wasn't going to be no 70-point games. All these guys scoring 70. Nope, it wasn't happening. We got Julius Randle with a hard foul getting hurt on his shoulder. It was a crazy game. Uh, I do think that the Knicks bench definitely did their thing. This was like, I don't want to say a coming out party, but it kind of was like a come out party for the Knicks bench where everybody on the bench had a solid game. I don't think we've seen that post RJ quickly trade, right? Precious Anunoby had 10 rebounds and 2 blocks. He also did a good job on Bam. He played the majority of the minutes. Isaiah Hartenstein didn't play much of the fourth quarter. I don't think he played the fourth quarter at all. And Precious Anunoby took on the challenge, and he did his part helping slow down Bam. Honestly, I like Precious too in those small center matchups. I think he can hold his own because he's 6'9", Bam is 6'9", and Bam has a little bit more athleticism. That's how he's able to really take advantage of a lot of those big 7-footers. So I love what Precious Anunoby brought to the table. I think he had a solid game. Then when you look at Deuce McBride, he also had a solid game. He had 14 points. He was a plus 30 plus minus. I'm sorry, he had 9 points. I'm looking at Josh Hart. But Deuce had 9 points. He was running the show. Didn't play much, played 10 minutes, but he was solid, in my opinion. Then, of course, Josh Hart, he's the one that had the 14 to 9 rebounds. He had 5 assists as well. He was really playing his heart out, doing his part, defending, trying to get stops, playing hard, guarding bigger guys, smaller guys, didn't matter. Josh Hart was all over the court, really did his thing. And, of course, Quentin Grimes had an efficient shooting night, shooting 40% from 3 of 6 from overall from the field, 12 points. So Quentin Grimes, the bench to me, this was the best I've seen where all 4 bench guys were doing their thing. They came out in the first half and outscored the Heat bench. They had 20 bench points. So, yeah, definitely the bench, in my opinion, they were the ones that did their thing. Now, the Miami Heat's offense is so predictable, especially if you can, defend and you're a really good defensive team. What Miami Heat loves to do is they love to get guys driving in the paint, whether they're coming off picks or not. They don't really have guys that are that creative. I mean, I guess Scary Terry is their best creator off the dribble, but they don't really have guys that are playmakers in terms of high-level assist men and things of that nature, right? So, and Jimmy, Terry, and Tyler Hero are pretty much the only real three guys on this roster that can actually create their own shot. So, with like without like coming off picks and things of that nature. So their job is to try to get in the paint and look to dish out, and they like to shoot the corner three or just any open three. And they have good ball movement. Miami, they definitely prioritize that, but they're not an efficient offensive team in terms of their production. I mean, I think they're ready towards the bottom in terms of the offensive efficiency. So they're looking to get three balls, and I felt like because the Knicks stayed in their man-to-man defense and help on drives, things of that nature. Jimmy Butler and the guys really couldn't take advantage of those matchups. So when you look at the 3-point shooting percentage for Miami, even though 37% is a good percentage, it could be a lot worse. And also the Knicks shot 51% themselves. So the Knicks outshot Miami from three. That's also what offset the crazy. This game, like I said, was one of those crazy stat games, playoff feel. You throw out all the conventional wisdom in this game and you just go with who's going to perform well on the field. So as you can see, the Knicks had 15 turnovers, which helped Miami get 25 fast break points, right? The Knicks only got 11, and I think like 9 of those 11 came in the fourth quarter when it was a blowout, when the Knicks started to get Miami to turn over the ball because Miami was doing a solid job turnover-wise. Both teams actually, the Heat only had 8, the Knicks had 7. In my opinion, when you look at, this game, the Knicks 3-point shooting offset the fast break points that Miami did because they also ran after made baskets. They were trying to get a lot of easy baskets because they knew they were going to struggle in the half court. And that's another thing where the Knicks thrive was in the half court. Of course, the Knicks dominated the boards. This is always a key for me against Miami. If the Knicks can dominate the boards, Miami's going to be in trouble, especially the offensive glass, because Miami like to get second chance opportunities so they can get kickouts for those corner threes. And the Knicks did a great job with that. I mean, this game was one of the best all-around performances I've seen where in terms of the total team, everyone did their part in this game. And this is the type of production and performance you're going to need. Because at first I was concerned with the matchups. I'm not going to lie because they got 3 really good defenders. Bam, Julius Randle, and Terry Rozier. So now you could throw Rozier on Brunson, and then you could have your pick of the litter with Bam or Jimmy on Randall. But we were able to overcome that because JB, doesn't matter who's guarding him, he's going to do his thing. And then eventually Randall got going. He was a little timid in the first quarter. He only took like one shot, only had 2 points in the first quarter. But in the second quarter, he was able to get in his spots. And this is what I mean by the breakdown of the defense. So Miami Heat began to lose confidence in their defense because the Knicks were hitting a lot of threes, right? Anytime the Knicks got an opportunity to shoot a three, the Knicks were hitting it. And then another thing too, Julius Randle started hitting threes, and that opened up his inside game. Once Julius Randle was able to get a couple of buckets in the mid-range, now the Heat started to double the Knicks. And then that's trouble because this is why the RJ trade and quickly trade for OG works really well is that OG helps space the floor because now you have Dante there with OG. Those guys are 2 very efficient 3-point shooters, especially OG in the corner, right? Randall could knock down the 3-ball. Brunson could knock down the 3-ball. Hell, even Hartenstein could knock down the 3-ball. He doesn't take it. But now you have a team that can definitely stretch the floor. So anytime you want to double Randall or Brunson, look for that dish, kick, swing, and now a rain of threes. So when the Heat started losing confidence in their defense, that's when the Knicks' offense became just too much, too overbearing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from this game wise. Nah, that's all. I mean, Jalen Brunson, and I'm gonna get to Brunson in a second because we're talking about that All-Star stuff. That's probably be my flagship topic. This was um, his sixth 30-point game in the past 7 games, and he was outstanding. So yeah, this game definitely, in my opinion, was a game that really showed that the Knicks are just a better team. Unfortunately, though we won the game, we may have lost Randall. Another key thing too, before I move on to Randall and some of the other things, Terry Rozier, their new acquisition, didn't really do much. I did love his aggressiveness on the defensive end, but it just wasn't enough. The Miami Heat still is a very limited team, even with Terry Rozier. Maybe they'll get better as the season roll along. You get chemistry and things of that nature. But their bench to me is not that impressive. And Duncan Robinson was definitely the only guy really that gave us fits. Julius Randle, his shoulder being injured, this could be a little concerning to me. We don't really know how bad his shoulder is hurt. So we know it's a dislocated shoulder. He immediately left the game, didn't even shoot the free throws. That's always a bad sign. Honestly, when I saw Randle run off the court, I got Patrick Ewing vibes. How many of you guys remember when Ewing ran off the court because he had an injury? That was kind of scary. The good news is he did an X-ray and it didn't show any significant damage. Now, they did say he was doing an MRI later that night. Did no word on the MRI just yet, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't like when they go radio silent for like a couple of days. I mean, they really can't because by the time this episode comes out, this will be the night of the Hornets game. So maybe we'll hear something before then. Definitely, he's probably not going to play that game. And Coach Tibbs said he's being evaluated right now. He said it's very concerning, but you're concerned at any time somebody gets hurt. Go for the best. If he's out, it's the next guy in there and get it done. I mean, that's all you can do. And then he didn't come back in the game because he couldn't, because he definitely missed out on the free throws. So yeah, that's a tough break for the Knicks. Hopefully he definitely bounces back, man. Definitely giving Julius Randle that praise and support. Now,
don't forget to like this video and also
make sure you like and subscribe. We're at that point of the show. If you're still watching, you might as well just hit that subscribe button, check it out, download, 5 stars, anything that we can do. Keep going. We definitely hope Julius Randle's well. Before we continue, man, I got to take the time out, and I do this every episode, and I hope you guys actually go to shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com, man. Check out some of the merch. I got the I Bleed Orange and Blue, NY edition, Splash edition. We got all different types of colors. It definitely go good with any of your Knicks hats or other Knicks apparel. We talking about that blue and orange, man. And definitely check me out. My shirts are reasonably priced. If you want to show some love and support to your team and the channel, go cop you an I Bleed Orange and Blue t-shirt, man. So we're going to get back into the content, man. So salute to you for rocking out with me. Now, we're going to jump into this this title contending thing. And this is what I'm going to do my video about. The media is giving us credit for everything, but they still slighting us. But I am glad to see that, you're starting to see more articles like this. They want to give us credit for being legit title contenders. I'm not going to say that the Knicks are favored to win the championship. What we can say is that the Knicks probably are the second best team in the East. If you say that, you're not delusional. Earlier in the year, some people might have called you delusional. I would have said you're very optimistic. But no one has said that is not a delusional Knicks fan, and we don't take delusional Knicks fans seriously, that the Knicks are a championship or a favorite to win the championship. Now, you can say we're contenders. If you consider the top 2, top 3 team in the East contenders, all right, so then we're contenders. That's not a delusional statement. But if you think that we're a lock to go to the finals and win the finals, that's a little delusional. Once we get to the playoffs and we get that second seed, now you won't be delusional, right? But to say that we are locked to win the championship, I think that that's a little bit of delusion. But seeing the media give us our credit, I kind of like staying under the radar. I don't want these guys to be on our bandwagon because a lot of these guys sound like hypocrites. And look, I'm not taking a shot at Kendrick Perkins. Salute to Kendrick Perkins. Because he's a fair commentator and he's one of the guys that did give us our credit. But at the same time, there's a sound bite, and I know somebody could pull it up, where he was getting on the Knicks saying, yo, they need another star. They need another star. They're not going to do nothing about it. Now he's talking about we're the second best team in the East. And I'm not taking a hard shot at Kendrick Perkins. I'm just keeping it real. I focus on everything Knicks, 365. You give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks. So I see everything. Okay? And you said that. Now his tune has changed, but it is good to see the media give us our props. Now, another thing too was Isaiah Hartenstein, his return. He came back from injury, and I'll just take this off. So Hartenstein, he played about 11 minutes. He didn't play his normal minutes. And that's to be expected. He's a 7-footer with an Achilles injury. 16 minutes he played. So that's to be expected. I don't honestly read any red flags into that because the man has been pretty durable. And honestly, with Jericho Sims and Precious Anunoby, I don't think it's a big deal if Hartenstein may need to take more time to get right. I'm just glad he's back because we're going to need him. Hopefully we could get Mitch back in April, and then hopefully Randle is out for no longer than a week or two. We'll be fine if Randle have to sit out 2 weeks. Even if we go 500 in that stretch, we can still hold on to our position for the most part, and then look to get Randle back. And of course, it might take him a couple of weeks to get in his groove, but by March, April, that's when you want to be at your 100% best. So it is good to see Isaiah Hartenstein back in the lineup. And then I'll move over to this article here. Let's see, Jalen Brunson. Okay, so Jalen Brunson definitely has learned to hate the Heat. You know what I'm saying? So salute to Jalen Brunson for learning the Knicks way. We don't rock out with the Heat. Okay? We don't rock out with the Heat. So he asked probably if he learned to hate Miami Heat as part of the Knicks Heat rivalry. And then Jalen Brunson said, definitely. So salute to Jalen Brunson, man. Did he heat that smoke? Listen, I go back to those days in the 90s, 96. I remember when Riley left. He left us like a bride on the altar. Then he went to Miami. And it took them a while, but he got them a couple of championships, about 3 championships. And he could have did that in New York. You don't think that we still feel that way? You don't think that we still feel some type of way? Now, granted, some can argue that the Knicks ownership should have gave Pat Riley what he wanted, which what he got in Miami, which is a percentage of the team. But this is the big city, the Big Apple. The Knicks, from as far as I can remember, was always owned by big corporations. So it's not as simple as you have one owner and then you could bring in minority owners. Like, that's a whole big border operation. But nonetheless, an argument could be made that the Knicks should have signed Riley and gave him what he wanted, and he would have still been here, and we definitely would have won championships. Listen, with Riley running the show, we definitely would have won championships. I have no doubt in my mind with that. So that's why some of us Knicks fans don't like the Heat, because it really is Riley. And of course, the rivalries with the Heat, the fights, the tough games, the tough wins, the tough losses. And they've been beating us in the playoffs the last 3, I think the last 3 times we played the Heat, they beat us. They beat us last year, and they beat us when Melo was there. So I think they beat us the last 2 matchups. So, we're going to get them back. And honestly, I hope we see them in the playoffs. So we get to this Nuggets game. So first though, salute to the Knicks for, once again, wins like this definitely have old media in our, cheering for us, rocking with us. Oh, the Knicks are a good team. I always knew the Knicks would be a good team, even though we know that that's cap. None of you guys was really rocking with the Knicks like that. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because these wins will get us on that next level, on that big stage. I don't want to be on the big stage. I want them to count us out. I like coming in as the underdog. I feel like it just gives you a whole nother edge. So I'm going to quickly break down this game. Now, this game was the New York Knicks show. And it wasn't one Knick in particular. It was a team effort of Knicks. Now, to counter my other point about the Heat game, one could argue, the Knicks bench was impressive in this game. Because when you look at it, it's kind of similar. Achua, he only had 2 points, but he had 10 rebounds and 3 assists and even a block. McBride had 13, right? So he had a better showing in the Heat game. And then Josh Hart, he only had 4 points, but he had 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He was all over the place, flying everywhere, right? A nice steal and a block. Grimes had 19. So one could argue this is the show out game. And I guess both games can be the breakout games for the bench. What stood out to me the most in this game was definitely the Knicks bench and the Knicks defense completely locking down the Denver Nuggets. They only shot 19% from three, even though I don't think they're a great three-point shooting team to begin with. And it also held them to 40% from field and under 90 points. They only had 84 points. This is the lowest score total for the Nuggets. I think it's also the lowest score total for a team that went up against the Knicks, right? None of the Nuggets had anything going. Aaron Gordon had a decent game, but it wasn't enough because Aaron Gordon's success is playing off of Jokic and getting dunks in transition. There was not much going on in transition because they couldn't get any stops against the Knicks, right? The Knicks did a great job holding on to the ball. They only had 10 turnovers. That's well under the Knicks season average, which is 13 point something. Can't remember off the top of the head, right? The Knicks had 26 points off turnovers, right? Which also made that Miami game ironic. They was, definitely turning over Nuggets and getting steals. That's what this game was: getting steals, getting swipes, hands on the ball. Of course, we go back to the box score, and you see that OG Anunoby. This was probably his best game of the season, right? And I don't think he's done having these impressive games. He had 26 points. And let me tell you something about OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby is getting into his Kawhi Leonard bag. He is making plays in the mid-range, and his game looks eerily similar to Kawhi Leonard, the way he operates in that mid-range. He has enough moves to shake you and try to drive by you, get a layup, or to actually do a semi-post, not so much backing you down so much, but with the ability to turn and shoot, right, with the defense in front of him. So he's actually showing that maybe he's not as prolific as RJ is at getting his shot, but he can get his own shot and get us 20 points. If OG's doing that, he's virtually unstoppable. Look up to OG, right? Then he got a lot of his points in transition too. He was getting steals, dunks, and all of that. This game was definitely a very impressive showing for these Knicks. The best win of the year, if you ask me. Though I do like the Miami game, I just think that blowing out the defending champions, showing them that your work is for real, okay? And then I got a post article here talking about the plus minus, how unreal it is. I mean, this guy has made history. I mean, the difference he's made. So to all the people who kind of like have an issue with the trade, yeah, it might be time to hop off that bandwagon because this kid is playing at a high level. I mean, they first tracked plus minus back in 96, 97 when Tim Duncan was the king of it, right? Since he arrived at on the roster with the Knicks, right? The Knicks have outscored teams by 239 points, right? Anunoby's 467 minutes. That's a crazy plus minus stat, man. And look who's number 2 on that list. Rasheed Wallace. He was a plus 172 with the Pistons after being traded. So this is probably, what this is going down as? The best in-season trade in NBA history. You know what? Let me write that down. That's going to be a poll. Is Anunoby the best in-season trade in history? Right? Of course, we know based on plus minus, but I'm going to say history did not just play plus minus, wins, the whole shebang. So salute to OG Anunoby. making history. And I won't hold you any longer. We're gonna jump to our flagship topic. We're gonna start moving. We passed that halfway mark. But I do want to talk about the All-Star starting snub. Now, I said on one of these shows, I do a lot of shows, I'm not sure where I said it. I said that Jalen Brunson technically is not a snub. But it is a snub. But the reason why I say it's not a snub is because the Knicks fans, the Knicks fans did not give him the support that he deserves. They gave Melo the support. They gave KP the support, right? They gave Ewing and whoever else. I can't remember back in the days how Knicks All-Stars got into the game. But I know they gave KP that support and Melo that support. So why didn't you give Jalen Brunson, the assassin, the madman, the Brunson burner, the Nova King, whatever you want to call Jalen Brunson, why didn't you vote for him? Don't make me pull up that poll that showed that 20% of Knicks fans did not vote for Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. And then these are probably the same people saying, oh, it was a snub. It was a snub. Yes, Jalen Brunson not becoming an all-star starter, he is a snub. Don't get that twisted. I'm just saying that because of the Knicks fans, it's not a snub because guess what? Y'all didn't vote. So now when it came down to the tiebreaker, they went with the fan votes. And that's how Jalen Brunson didn't get elected as a starter. Knicks fans, you should be ashamed of yourself, right? And it says it here, he lost the vote to Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard should not be starting. He should not be starting. Not over Jalen Brunson. And it says largely because the fans who accounted for 50% of the tally. So the fan vote was a major key. And I've been saying it on every podcast. Vote. I did a poll talking about vote. I did videos talking about why don't Knicks fans vote. Post why don't Knicks fans vote. In the groups, vote. And it's because of that, our supposed, he's going to be an all-star, but that's why he didn't make it, right? So then we're going to talk more about this, right? Because Stephen A. Smith got ripped by Kendrick Perkins because Stephen A. Smith, come to the front of the congregation, Stephen A. Smith. You said that you didn't vote for Jalen Brunson. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You have a vote that counts way more than the fans. You are a Knicks fan. Do you think if, I don't know, who's a Laker fan that's a reporter? I don't know. Let's just do hypotheticals. Do you think that if Jack Nicholson had a vote in the media, that he's not going to vote for his guy if Jalen Brunson's on the Lakers? Anybody else, if that's their guy and they can vote, and their guy is deserving of a starting spot, it's not like this guy is just a guy on your team. No, this guy deserves a spot. Are you, a person in position of power, going to say, nah, you know what? I want to be objective, so I'm not going to vote. Yeah, being objective is being able to call a game fairly. And what was fair is that Jalen Brunson was an all-star, and Stephen A. Smith, you let us down. And I'm glad that Kendrick Perkins gave Stephen A. his responsibility. And I salute to Stephen A. Smith. You still my guy. I rock with Stephen A. Smith. Don't get that twisted. Salute to Stephen A. Smith. But I'm glad he called you out on national TV and said, it's your fault. You played a role, right? So this is what Stephen A. Smith said. Jalen Brunson is a star and deserves all the credit in the world, but I'm sorry, Smith said. There's a reason the fans, the media, and the players voted for Halliburton over him. I'm gonna tell you why that's cap. The fans vote based on popularity. Tyrese Halliburton is more popular than Jalen Brunson because, first of all, I don't think this is even Tyrese Halliburton's first All-Star. This might be his second appearance, right? So Jalen Brunson was somebody who was snubbed last year. And part of that is because of the popularity, right? Now, it's not based off of merit. It's based on popularity. So that's why you can't weigh the fans' vote. That's why the media has the vote they got, which is, I think, is 25%. Your 25% matters because there's less media than there is fans. So you as the media have to get it right. You can't say because the fans voted for him, I'm not going to vote for him. Yeah, all respect to the fans. And if he wins out on the fan vote, that's fine. But when you're in a position to vote and try to make things more fair and balanced, Mr. Stephen A. Smith, you have to do what you got to do. And you let us down. You let us down. And I'm glad Kendrick Perkins said it. Let me see where the exact quote is. Right? So Perkins, right? Perkins was having none of that, right? He wasn't feeling what Stephen A. said in terms of, saying why Halliburton should have got voted over him. This is what Kendrick Perkins said. You stay right there and you fix your body language, Perkins told Smith. You know what the problem is? The problem is, I can't do it in his voice. He got a country voice. The problem is you are a prime example, I can't do it, along with the organization of not promoting this man of what he is. Thank you. And I disagree with the organization part. No, that's the organization. All right. I watch all Knicks games on MSG. Salute to MSG. I watch all the games there, right? Jalen Brunson's in half the commercials. They had a campaign. Vote for Julius Randle. If you watching the game, vote. They had commercials advertised. They promoting their Julius. No, that's not true. I disagree with the organization. Don't add the organization. I disagree with that, right? The problem is, along with the organization, of not promoting this man of what he is. I disagree with that. The Knicks organization promoted Jalen Brunson. When you talk about putting up the numbers with the best of them, when you talk about his production, I should go to New York and land and walk through LaGuardia Airport and see posters of Jalen Brunson. Now, I'm not sure about LaGuardia Airport, but there are posters of Jalen Brunson all around. We're not going to act as if on MSG, especially, they don't say Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson is supposed to be an all-star. They talk about it at least 8 times every time there's a broadcast. I disagree with that. Now, the airport, I'm not sure about the airport. I haven't flown in LaGuardia in like 2-3 years. So I don't know what that looks like. But I'm glad that he did call out Stephen A. Salute to Kendrick Perkins. Because you, Stephen A., have the power. You have to give the light. That's why you're on TV. And I'm not asking him to do it unfairly. Jalen Brunson deserves the light. If it was Julius Randle, okay, I don't think Julius Randle necessarily deserves to be a starter. I mean, he's an all-star, but a starter, I don't know, because you have Tatum, Embiid, and Giannis. That's a little tougher to argue. I still say vote for him. I voted for Randle. But at the same time, when we're talking about a snub and belonging, you, Stephen A. Smith, was in position to make a difference and you chose not to. And then you're talking about, oh, yeah, this, that, and the third. I'm glad Kendrick Perkins set that record straight. Oh, salute to Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, and I actually dropped a short about Charles Barkley. I might drop it on the YouTube today. It will be yesterday by the time this comes out. But Charles Barkley talked about he will walk off the job if Jalen Brunson is not elected an All-Star. But he also made a big deal about him not being a starter. So salute to Charles Barkley. Also, Jalen Brunson, just to show how great he is, he also was added to the pool of 41 players that might make the national team. Now, get this. I do think Jalen Brunson has a shot to make the team. The way this season is going, I mean, you haven't had too many major injuries to major stars, but I mean, Ja Morant is out. Ja Morant's not going over there. He's hurt. More guys may get hurt. Joel Embiid, he's dealing with he has soreness in his knees, I think. So if Joel Embiid has soreness in his knees and that lingers, and then now maybe he might have to get some sort of procedure or surgery, he's going to take that. He's not going to go. A lot of these guys going to have injuries. Half the team is not going for health. I'm telling you that right now. So Jalen Brunson has a shot to make the team because I don't think everyone's going to be available to go. So we're going to move forward to, let's go to word of the street, man. We're going to move a little faster. We towards the end of the episode. Salute to you. If you rocking with me, man. I do appreciate the love and the support, man.
Don't forget to like this video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what I mean? Definitely show your love and support. So attention, Knicks fans, there's been a heavy amount of rumors regarding the Quentin Grimes trade by the deadline. What's the likelihood that this trade will go down, right? So I have different choices here. Very likely, it's possible, no chance, right? So we got 405 votes. So let's see who voted for who. So 47% of the fans said that it's very likely that Quentin Grimes is out of here. Now, he's played really 2 good games. Remember, this poll was 6 days ago. Maybe that might change, right, in terms of how the fans feel because he's been balling. 41% say it's possible, and 12% say no chance. Salute to the 12% that say no. So, Knicks fans think that he's up out of here, at least at a, what's that, 89% chance. So 89% of these Knicks fans saying that at least it's possible he's gone. And 12% is sticking with him. So this is the flyer promoting the game. We'll move up. All right, so yeah, about this woman here, word on the street. A lot of Knicks fans was outraged at Candace Parker. She's a talented WNBA player. I have no malice towards her. I think she's really, really amazing. And I'm glad that the WNBA women are getting a lot of opportunities to do other side of things because honestly, I think that the WNBA needs to play these women more. They shouldn't have to go overseas. I mean, the demand I feel is growing up. I actually watched a lot of the WNBA playoffs last year. I didn't really have time to cover the season, but when the playoffs came, I actually was covering it on this podcast. At least the New York Liberty side of things, because they went to the finals. Now, outside of that, I do think that when you are covering this game, you need to watch the game. And I feel like not enough people watch enough NBA to really give the best commentary about different aspects of the NBA. So she's clearly reading sound bites. She's not watching games, not Knicks games. She's watching games, not Knicks games, right? So this is what Candace Parker said. She said, when the games slow down in the playoffs and you get jammed up, we've seen Jalen Brunson in the playoffs with the Mavericks, and he was the number 2 option. Number 3 option came in, played minutes, supplemented Luka, handling the ball. But as a number 1 option last year in the playoffs, great first round, second round, not so much. Where you get that from? Now, this rhetoric, and I didn't get a chance to address Becky Hammon because I took some time off from the podcast during those times, but Becky Hammon was kind of the trailblazer with this newfound Jalen Brunson critique. He's too small to be the best player on a championship team. When Steph Curry is probably maybe an inch taller than Jalen Brunson, and he led the Warriors to at least 2 championships. And then, of course, KD was there for the other 2. But the bottom line is, he's a small guy leading his team to the championship. That's the great point. So this is where all this new knock, new criticism, like I said, I got a video cooking up about that, talking about a lot of the new knocks and criticism. And it's very unwarranted in my opinion. Clearly, she's misinformed. And I'm just going to say this. In that Miami series, he took his game to another level. He was averaging like 30 a game, had 41 points in the elimination game. What is she talking about? She gets some crow, man. I gave Candace Parker some crow. So just wanted to address that. She was bugging. And of course, this was, and guess when this was? During the Knicks-Nets game, where she was hosting the halftime show, right? So make sure you're here. Let me put this back up on the schedule. Let me put the schedule back up there. Make sure you are here, okay, on the 8th. The 8th and the 3rd. 3rd of February, make sure you're here, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing the live play-by-play. All right? I will be doing the live play-by-play. So you ain't got to listen to people like this who don't watch the Knicks talk as if they understand the Knicks on that level. You don't. And I love Candace Parker, but you got to stop it. Anytime anybody saying something crazy about these Knicks, you got to deal with the objective Knicks fan. I'm coming through and I'm raising hell. Yeah. You're not gone are the days you're going to say the Knicks suck. And the Knicks they're fourth best in the East. They got fifth highest point differential in the league. How do the Knicks suck? If the Knicks suck, then the NBA sucks. So if we're going to keep that same energy, let's keep that same energy. But I'm on your head. You're not talking about the Knicks and thinking that it's sweet like that. It's not going down. So, attention Knicks fans, which Knicks win was the most impressive of the season, right? So we had 233 votes. And of course, I got beating the champs by 38 points, which was the Nuggets game. Blowing out Philly on the road, right? This was back when I think this was when OG first got there. And then, of course, the blowing out the Bucks on Christmas. So let's see what the fans vote. I think it's beating the champs. So 77% of the Knicks fans voted, and they said beating the champs by 38 points was the biggest win of the season, the most impressive win of the season. 14 say blowing out Philly in a row, which I think probably is the second best. And then 8% say blowing out the Bucks on Christmas. That was pretty good. And so that's all for Word on the Street. I'm going to no, we got one more. I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to save the other one for next week. Attention, Knicks fans, the All-Star, and because this is credible to what we're talking about. So this is the Knicks fans talking about Jalen Brunson's All-Star starting snub. The All-Star lineup was announced, and Jalen Brunson wasn't selected. Was Jalen Brunson sub, and should he be a starter? 207 fans voted, and 95% of Knicks fans said yes. 3% say no, and then 2% say they don't know. Now, to the 3% that say no, why are you a Knicks fan? Why are you a Knicks fan? I don't know. We're going to move on. We're going to jump into a couple of rumors. Let's see where we are on time. All right, we're by that 50-minute mark. Let's see. So, Quentin Grimes, the Wizards are saying they want him now. The Knicks are not going to do the Wizards trade because the Wizards are willing to give up Gafford. If I could get Kuzma, I might have to think about that because I think Kyle Kuzma off the bench will be a dynamic scorer. I wouldn't start him in OG, but I would bring him off the bench. Quentin Grimes for Kyle Kuzma might not be a bad trade. I think I would do that trade, but they want to give up Gafford. We don't really need a big guy. I'm confident in Precious Anunoby and Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein. I think his health is going to be fine, so we don't really need a center. But that's what the trade talk was at this time because this is when Hartenstein first got hurt. So, there was a lot of rumors and, the media, they do their job in trying to see where the Knicks are going to go. Now, Quentin Grimes, he says that he's aware of the trade talk. He said, I've kind of been in trade rumors since my rookie year. So I just try to come in every day, do my job professionally. I mean, that's it. That's all you can do. Like some people think that these trade rumors really impact the players. I don't, but some people really think it does. A lot of rumors last week, because of that Terry Rozier trade. So they're talking about Malcolm Brogdon, but they haven't talked. So this is an update with Brogdon. The Knicks and the Blazers haven't really been talking. More than likely, we probably won't get Malcolm Brogdon. But another name that's been tossed around was Alec Burks. How do you feel about Alec Burks? Once a Knick, always a Knick. I don't mind Alec Burks because I think you could sit him. I think that he would sit for us. I think that he would understand that, we have a team that's moving and he will be used kind of like in the Evan Fournier role if you need him. And then, like I said, you could trade Fournier for him and you get Alec Burks who makes less money and he's familiar with the system. He can score. So salute to Alec Burks. That's a deal I'm confident in. These power rankings, this ESPN, that's what we follow, is done in the middle of the week. Right? So January 24th. So that's the middle of the week for us. So that means they didn't see the Denver game, I don't think, and I don't think they saw but they definitely didn't see the Heat game. Now, we're gonna look into this here to see where of course, Boston is number one. Denver, definitely, they got moved up to number 2, but they're going to drop. So I think that the next power rankings that come out will have the Knicks a lot higher than this week because, look, that we beat the number 2 team on the list. And then OKC's number 3, Philly's number 4, Minnesota's number 5, Milwaukee's falling, they number 6. Clippers is 7, they just stayed even. And the Cavs, the team that we've been right behind, actually moved up to 8. They were 10th. So we should be with these guys, at least one ahead of them, one behind them, next to them. We need to be with those guys. And then Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is also another hot team. But look at, they went from 15 to 9. Now, this is the bias. How they jump from 15 to 9? The Knicks have been stuck between 12 and 14 for weeks now. And these guys jumped 6 spots. I need the Knicks to see the Knicks drop at least 4 or 5 spots. If these guys are going to jump up 6 spots. And then, of course, they got the Knicks right behind the Suns. But if you look at who we beat, they got Dallas, Indiana. Indiana's a good one. Orlando, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. No. So I expect to see us, because we're 10 now. I would love to see us in the 7th spot. I think we hurdle the Cavs, jump up to the 7th spot, and the Clippers move up, and then or move the Bucks to 8 or 9. Move the Bucks to 8 or 9. Bucks got to drop. We need to be up here. Clippers move up to 6. We move up to 7. NBA got to get that done. But let's see what they're talking about. So we are climbing up. Salute the Knicks climbing the ring. So thanks to the last second win over the Nets, Knicks improved to 10-2. And that's all Anunoby. So, the league is trying to give us our respect, but we need to move up a little higher. Of course, the Knicks' success couldn't happen without Tom Thibodeau. Salute to Tom Thibodeau. Doing an excellent job coaching these guys. We already talked about the OG trade, and I'm going to write a poll on, is it the best trade in history? But definitely the Knicks hit another home run with that. Josh Hart sacrificing his new role. Josh Hart, he is a 2-guard, but he's been playing power forward for us. So, salute to Josh Hart, helping, doing his thing, doing his role. Salute to him, man. He does realize his limitations, that he's not, a super big guy like people made it seem, but he's doing his part. Let's jump into this net game. I don't want to break down this net game. Honestly, the net game was the toughest game out of the 3 this week. And you knew that was going to happen because they're a division rival. They don't like us. We don't like them. So, we knew that the Nets were going to come for our heads. But I do want to shout out Precious Anunoby. Once again, he had this was his breakout game against the Nets. He had 6 points, 9 rebounds, solid. Showed us that he can hold down that center spot. Jericho Sims played 27 minutes. He was solid too, for his first game out there. This game was a really interesting game. Of course, Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle had the twin 30 balls. And then the other key aspect to this game was Dennis Smith Jr. closing out the game over Cam Thomas. Javon said that, DSJ we played better defense. That's true. We talked about Candace Parker and her dig during that net game. And trying to think anything else I want to talk about. We sped right through everything. So, last point I want to talk about is the Knicks. Every game on the East Coast for the Knicks is a home game. Salute to the Knicks. Every game on the East is a home game for the Knicks. So Knicks did their thing, man. Yo, what a great week. I think I'm going to end there. Salute to you for if you watched the show for this long. Make sure you're there on Thursday, 6 p.m., Brother Garfield Podcast. I will be there. Make sure you're here February 3rd. We will be watching the Knicks and the Lakers, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you're there. Look out for more videos, more show, more content. Subscribe to House Call Sports. Definitely salute to you. And until next time, let's go Knicks.